In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the biggest mistake that I made when it came to self-acceptance and how the whole movement around don't change yourself was actually not serving me and was doing the exact opposite for me. You see, the way I see things is that we are like this little box. Okay, from childhood, we're told what to think, what to do, how to behave, and what to do and where to go by our caretakers, by our friends, by our environment, school, work, whatever it particularly is. And over time, what happens is we create this familiar box of way of being. And what you can refer to this box to as is your personality. And your personality creates your reality. Fantastic, great, we're on the same page on that. Now, my current box, the box that I was living in at the time, was a box that happened to be quite depressing to live in, was filled with fear, was filled with anger and frustration and anxiety and doubts and worries and anything under the sun that I can think of that was just had a negative orientation around it. So I started to dig into that by reading personal development books and stuff like that. And one of the first messages that I came across was, accept yourself. And I was like, well, that's what was going on. I wasn't accepting myself. So I was practicing, I was getting into the meditation and it's like, I accept myself, don't change who you are, I accept exactly who I am. And what was happening is that I noticed an initial shift. I was like, I noticed an initial pressure release, which felt amazing because this was the first time that I had now words and a way in which I can actually go about that's different from the belief system that I had. Yet, as much as I did that practice, I realized that I was still feeling fear. I was still feeling doubt. I was still feeling angry. In fact, it was actually getting even worse. And so I thought, okay, well, it must be because I'm not trying hard enough. So I would double down on the self-acceptance. I triple down on the self-acceptance and I just keep going. I'm like, I'm accepting myself. And then I would get so frustrated that the feelings are still there. So I don't know, I just get so frustrated. I'd start going to the gym, I'd pop up with a bunch of reps and then go on social media and be like, gains, baby, gains. And what was happening is that more and more, I was realizing that I was like, okay, well, this personal development stuff is filled with woo-woo garbage because I'm doing what I'm being told. I'm not changing myself for anybody else. And but yet I'm still frustrated. And it didn't make sense to me because at this time, I was in a lucrative six-figure engineering career. I had traveled to over like 25 different countries by the age of 25. I had enough money to be able to rent out sports cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris to go and race them with my brothers and my friends. We were street racing all kinds of different things, wild stuff. And I had these parties that were upwards of like 400 people at sometimes. They were insane. And then what I would do is I'd have to post it on social media to show everybody, look, my life is awesome. My life is so great. And I had the appearance of, look, this is just who I am. Yet inside, there was this empty hollowness. There was this worthlessness feeling, this feeling that I wasn't worthy of love, that I would never amount to anything, that I would never go anywhere, that I would never do anything. And I was deeply depressed. And so in order to run from those feelings and to try and hide and bottle them down, what I was doing is I was trying to showcase how great life was on this side of things. And that's what appeared. And of course, that's who I was. Those are the type of people that I attracted in my particular box that had their particular boxes that fit with my particular box. And we had that kind of reality and that kind of relationship. Now, the biggest thing that shifted for me, the biggest thing and the number one mistake that I found was that self-acceptance does not mean agreement. When I realized, I was like, well, wait, what? You see, the way in which my box operated is that I picked up other people's beliefs and ways of being that were not in alignment with who I was. I believed that I was not worthy. I believed that the world is a fearful place. I truly believed that love was very hard to come by and it was of this fleeting moment of things. And I believed in such a scarcity and lack mindset. And so I thought that by self-accepting myself, that I had to actually just accept the fact, I had to accept these negative beliefs. But it wasn't until I realized that acceptance does not mean agreement. And what that means is that You can have these beliefs within. You can have the belief that you're not worthy, that you're not this, that you're not that, but you don't have to accept it that that is you. So right here I have self-acceptance equals agreement. That was my biggest confusion. No, it does not equal agreement. All right, that's the biggest one right there, because you don't need to believe, you don't, I mean, if you want to believe, if you want to agree with those particular beliefs that are not in alignment with you, by all means go for it and do all that. But I was set on a different path in life, and I was like, I wanted to uncover these beliefs and like, why are they there in the first place? Why am I even there? And in doing so, I was able to finally start to surrender to the process. And surrendering isn't starfishing and collapsing to it. I was able to start to identify, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I think that I'll never be able to make this work, or that I'm a complete loser. Why? And the moment I started to be able to see it in this way, I started to de-identify to it. So I was surrendering to what was happening. I was like, I see now, I can understand that based on how I was brought up, based on the life that I lived, I can see how this inner child, this inner teenager version of me didn't have the resources and didn't have the tools, didn't have the level of awareness that I do now. But what they did is they figured out a way that despite all their circumstances, that adopting that belief system and that way of being was actually how I was able to stay safe, and I was able to survive in that particular environment. So I was doing the best that I possibly could in that time. That just clicked so much for me, because what I realized was, I'm like, wait a minute, I have all these beliefs, but I don't have to identify with them. And this is where I talk about, it's like, they're like clouds. I'm like, I could just see them. There's another belief right there. There's the doubt coming in. There's the worry creeping in right now. And I can see it, and I can play around with it. From there, I was able to then just think like, well, what would I like to believe instead? What would I like to believe to be true about myself? What is more in alignment with who I really am? And so I started tapping into these 4 steps. So the first one was surrender. Like I said, surrendering and then allowing it to essentially be there and understanding that it's there, but not identifying with it, not agreeing with the particular belief. And then aligning myself to a new reality that I wanted to experience. I wanted to experience a version of me that responded to life with compassion, with love, with curiosity, with confidence. And it started to shift my life completely. And what happens is that a lot of this stuff, it's not conscious. This is subconsciously happening and driving our actions. All right. And so what was happening is that I required conscious effort to respond to things differently than I was doing before, enough times so that my box would shift and morph and change into something new, and where now I was doing the thing unconsciously. And then lastly, so that's what I had. The third was the conscious choosing. And then from there, it came down to embracing the unknown. Because I was responding in a different way, because I was responding as a different version of me, as a different Mlad, what was happening is that I was getting different reactions. I was getting different scenarios. I was getting different things happening. In fact, you're not always going to be met with sunshine and roses. In fact, I had people being like, "You've changed. I don't know about this. You don't fit in my box no more, man. This is kind of weird now. You're getting a little too hippie woo-woo on me, man." And I was like, but that's okay, because I'm realizing that this is now the alignment of who I am. And what's happening is that I became okay with my external environment shifting, my external reality shifting around me, and me no longer being attracted and connected with people that were fitting my old set of boxes and beliefs. That's all fine. So the 4 steps that I found was basically to basically summarize this whole video, is that self-acceptance does not mean agreement. Self-acceptance is just merely allowing a flow to come in, and therefore you're not really changing yourself. Don't view it as changing yourself. You're just changing the relationship that you have to yourself. So you could be now responding with love, or when you feel fear, instead of identifying with the fear, you're now starting to talk to the fear. You're starting to engage with the fear and choosing something different. And so the steps that I had here was to surrender, allow it to flow in, align with the new reality of you that you're looking to create, then consciously choose, different actions and steps to the point where it becomes an unconscious decision, and then embrace the unknown. Because right now, this is most likely uncharted territory and stuff that you've probably never encountered before. So you're going to have different things that you've never encountered before. And notice that when you do uncharted territory, I think that's right. When you go down a path that is unfamiliar, you'll most likely have the old self fighting back and introducing fear, doubts, and worry to try and keep you into the familiar suffering that was before. Versus now, you could be choosing a new reality, one of abundance, one of prosperity, and one filled with love. So with that, I conclude this video. And if you found value in this video, please share it around. And I'm thinking about actually starting to create a group of like-minded people. I'm gonna be sharing a lot more details about that in the next few videos here. And with that, take care and see you on the next video. Bye.